Welcome to the latest episode of Propelling Forward. I'm Keith Sarinsky, CEO of Pin Business Network. And today I have the pleasure of having Joel Moreau, the co-founder and chief growth officer among, I think, 37 other hats of Mallard Bay Outdoors. Joel, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Keith. Happy to be here.
Great. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Down here in South Louisiana, it's not too hot today. LSU's playing this weekend, and we just survived a huge hurricane. So, actually, we're spared from it. So I couldn't be much better.
Good, yeah. Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into Mallard Bay. Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned, my name is Joel Moreau, Chief Growth Officer here at Mallard Bay. I was born and raised here in South Louisiana. Spent a lot of my time growing up among, playing sports and other normal things, hunting and fishing with my dad on the Louisiana coast. So I guess part of which ties into my time here at Mallard Bay, just had that passion for the outdoors from a young age. And then when I went into college, I started helping out my uncle who owns a exotic game ranch in West Texas. And he was essentially a business owner, and this is kind of like a side project of his, but he was looking to monetize this property, had a, beautiful property in operation, but didn't know much about marketing a business, managing payments, all these different aspects that would actually go into, running an outfitter. And so I kind of saw that as I was working there throughout college. I was a finance major here at LSU, thought I was going to go the investment banking route. Actually went work in San Francisco for a little while. I got some experience there. But somewhere along that path, I was introduced to Logan, who's my co-founder. And he had this idea, which is, now Mallard Bay, which is essentially an Airbnb style marketplace where, you as a sportsman could go on and book a guided hunting or fishing trip with the same ease of use as you would if you were booking an Airbnb, right? So when I kind of heard about this idea, and then going back to my background and passion for the outdoors, and also, history helping out my uncle with his exotic game ranch and seeing the issues he went through, it immediately clicked for me. And ever since then, that was my junior year of college, right at the beginning of my junior year of college. I've been working on Mallard Bay since then. And I guess that's a little bit about me. That's how we got to where we are now. Yeah,
that's fantastic. And you kind of gave a little bit of primer about Mallard Bay itself. So you guys founded this while you were in school?
Correct. Yeah. So when I was a junior, Logan was a grade above me. We had a finance class together and just kind of saw him working on it one day in class. He was like typing up something on LinkedIn, asked him about it. And, at first it was kind of like a passion project. And a little bit of background on Logan, he and his dad, his dad had founded a tech company called Waiter. It was like a early rendition of a food delivery app, kind of like DoorDash, right? So Logan had grown up in the, startup space since he was young, and was very passionate about making this idea a reality. And so, we launched it while we were both in school. At first, we were just trying to get the ball rolling and figuring out the idea, interviewing customers on both sides. Ended up entering a business plan competition at LSU and won like $3,000, but it was enough to get us excited enough and really pursue investors and get the ball rolling. So raised our first investment round, and then from there, pretty much started doing it full time while I was getting my graduate school degree. Started building a team around it, and pretty much until this May, most of our team was still in school almost the whole time.
Fantastic. All right, so startup. Your business partner's a startup. His father's doing startups, right? So you have this energy, this vibe. So talk to people about what's something that you've learned over the course of standing up Mallard Bay that you think other people that would have interest in starting up a business, what would you tell them? What's something you've learned?
I'd say I'll kind of like move through, I guess, like idea stage where we were first at, all the way through actually launching and getting traction, right? So the first thing I'd say is write it down, right? Like I was always that person that had the idea, and like I'd be like, oh, dude, what if we had a vending machine on wheels or a party bus Ubers or whatever it was? But I would just never actually write it down and actually think through the idea and start putting a plan into place and talking to people about it. It was always just kind of fluff. So, and that's really something that Logan did well with Mallard Bay is, he had this idea and it turned into, renderings of the app and the business model and how it all work. And that's really just kind of your building blocks, the blueprint of your business or the blueprint of your idea. And then the next, once you get started, is to just realize and understand that change is constant. And, things are going to come up, delays are going to happen, especially when you're trying to build a software product. The economic environment is going to change. We launched this whole company during COVID. Most of the time, like, we were meeting with people completely online, trying to sell these outfitters, which are, historically, not the most tech savvy people, trying to sell them a tech product through a Zoom call, right? Like, so there's just a lot of difficulties that are going to come up. And then, just understand change is constant. Everything that happens is an opportunity for growth. And the last thing is just surround yourself with the right people. And that's kind of where we were at when we're in that team building stage, turning this idea into reality. And now that we're really into this scaling mode of, now having over 240 outfitters across the country, 36 states, 7 countries, it's just really getting bigger than we would have initially imagined. So now we're more about surrounding ourselves with the proper mentors, the proper investors, the people who can take this thing to the next level. So I guess that's kind of 3 things from idea stage. Write it down. Second thing, as you're growing, just know that change is constant. You're always going to have to adapt. And then third, surround yourself with the right people and mentors.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's very clear. I think anybody listening to this right now can tell how much passion you have for what you guys are doing. I think that's a vital piece, because you talked about change. Change is going to be constant in a startup environment. I 100% agree. It's how you adapt and react to that change is what matters. And if you're passionate about what you do, you'll be able to handle it. I sort of made a joke as I was introducing you, because I know that you've worn a lot of different hats in the organization. That's just a manifestation of change. So it's impressive what you guys have built and what you're building. But something happened with you all over the last week. So you mentioned briefly about investors, getting yourselves in front of the right investors. So do you want to talk about what occurred for you guys in the last week or so?
Yeah, sure. So kind of, I guess, alluding back to my story a little bit, finished up my undergrad. We raised a small, friends and family investment round, got that money to get our product out there to market. And last year we launched with, I think 12 to 50 services utilizing our software. And then throughout the next 9 months, we grew it to 180 outfitters and started getting some good high level traction. So around that time, I was wrapping up my last semester at LSU. We entered into the Rice Business Plan competition, which is this huge, nation, really worldwide startup competition that happens every year in Houston. And, I kind of just applied to it on a whim and, ended up getting accepted. And we show up and it's all these schools, MIT, Harvard, University of Munich in Germany, all these insane schools. And then here comes LSU hunting and fishing app, right? And nevertheless, these Cajuns from South Louisiana ended up going through, ended up walking away with over $300,000 in cash prizes, investments in cash prizes won. Placed 4th in this tournament. So needless to say, I know I'm kind of dragging on this answer. We generated a lot of buzz, right? Mm-hmm. And it allowed us to kind of get some momentum into raising our next investment round, which we closed last week, which was a $1.8 million seed funding round, which we're really going to use that capital to go and try to scale this thing to the next level. And another announcement that, hasn't even been out there yet, I guess, in the media is that we just bought another outdoor media focused company with this new round of capital, kind of more of like an acqui-hire situation where they're going to come on and hopefully take a couple of my hats away. And we're actually going to launch some new products through them and having them on the team. So anyway, yeah, thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to share and say that. It's really exciting to have raised what we just raised and also having the traction that we had in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's really impressive. It's something I can tell you're proud. I know that Logan is proud. Like your whole organization, the way that you guys have chased after what you're doing, I think that is the quintessential way, right, for young entrepreneurs to be. Your general disposition is fantastic. So congratulations to you guys. Is there anything else? You've given our listeners a lot of wisdom throughout this, but is there anything else that you want to share about your experience through school, through the idea stage, writing it down, going through fun, winning a contest, right? Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
I guess one thing that I've really had to focus on in the last couple of months is just narrowing in honing in on your sales process, right? Because that was a big thing for us. We have this awesome product. The market's there, all these things that we realized along the way, which is another thing. Make sure that your customer, and that's what, working with Penn Business has really helped us with is really narrowing in on that target market. But once you have that, narrowing in on your sales pitch and making it as little as you can about, trying to sell them something, but figuring out exactly what their needs are, what their struggles are, what their problems are, and then speaking solutions to them, speaking benefits. But don't just say these buzzwordy words that I like to say, like, oh, accept payments in real time and real time availability and so on. Speak to them in benefits. Talk to them in anecdotal stories about customers that are using your product and so on, right? So that's been one thing that's really just been a game changer for us. And constantly be looking at what you're doing, and don't get stuck on it just because it's your idea or because it's something that's worked in the past. Always be looking at ways that you can change and adapt and attack the market in a new way. And that's kind of business maturity that we've gone through over the last couple of months. Because, we had some times this summer when, all those recession woes were here and the booking season was slow, where it got a little scary and hectic, right? But at the same time, we took it as an opportunity for growth, looked at ways to adapt and change. And it's kind of where we are now, coming off of our best month that topped all of last quarter's revenue and growth, because we were willing and able to look at an opportunity for change. So I guess that's kind of one thing there. And I guess another call to action is, like, if you're listening to this, if you're a business-minded person and you've never taken a shot at going on a hunting or fishing trip, it is about, here we go. Here's the call to action. But it is such a great opportunity to cultivate new relationships with whoever it is that you bring on that trip, right? And I'm speaking specifically to people who might be looking for a company offsite, or who like to do these different excursions for their businesses. It's like just really understanding that going on a guided trip is very different than the intimidation of trying to go and buy a boat and entertain a bunch of people and so on. Like, they're there to cultivate that experience, to make sure that you're comfortable in whatever environment that you're in. And also keep in mind that it's always about way more than the kill or the catch or whatever it is that you're doing. It's about the laughs and memories that are going to be made on that trip, the stories that are going to be told, the meals shared, and so on. So again, Noah got a little long-winded there, but that's two things. One, a business thing, and one kind of a, hey, if you haven't done the outdoors thing in a while, this is a great opportunity to start, and we'd love to help you on that journey.
Yeah, awesome. So if you're interested in creating lifelong memories, as Joel has just talked about, right, visit them at mallardbay.com. You can also find them on Facebook. You can also find them on LinkedIn. All of those links and descriptions will be in the description of this video. Joel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. I think your story is incredibly inspiring. I think what you're doing and kind of how you're attacking sort of the dream that you have is impressive. And I hope that, you'll come back on the show maybe in 6 months and you'll be talking about how you've had the greatest half year that you've ever had. And then we can keep going from there. So thanks again to all of our listeners. Thank you, Joel. Right. Go check them out, mallardbay.com. You can find them again on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and we'll see you next time.